Tim Battis. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you for joining me this Thursday evening. We've got a lot of stuff that's going on in our country, and so it's not fun, but it's nice to focus on what matters most.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Tim, how long have you and Kathleen been senior leaders?
Oh boy. Um, I think this is our third year, if I remember right. We were leaders for like 10 before that, I think. I can't remember. I always forget time. You got to add 5 to everything I think it is.
That's right. That's right. So, who introduced you to Messiah?
That's a great question. It's my story is similar to a lot of these devotionals that we've heard so far, but not one specific individual. Although I do have a story I'm going to tell in just a minute about what my turning point was. Where I started taking my spiritual journey a different direction. But I would say many people in probably filling more of that role of discipling have had impact. I think of a friend of mine that was in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. He would come up once a quarter, just to have breakfast with me. I could never figure out why he would do that, but he did. And we would spend 2.5 hours talking about nothing but scriptural things.
Wow.
That creating this appetite.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine that introduced Kathleen and I together. He asked me to join in a Bible study with just him one-on-one for every Wednesdays. And we did it for, it's got to be 8 years. I think we did it.
Wow.
And then, organized Bible studies, etc. All that brought more and more information to me that brought me more a clarity about who God really was. And that helped sanctify me. And I think that helped the relationship. And so it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah.
The beginning of the journey, assurance was my biggest stumbling block. Today, it's not there. That's another story I won't tell today. But what was the turning point for me? I told this story years ago at CBS, probably 18 years ago, but I'll tell it again. When I was young, my father was diagnosed with cancer, and at the time, let's say I was spiritual. I had a reverence to God. I had a fear of God, but I didn't have a relationship for sure. He was way up there. He was very powerful, and I was very afraid. But I had a strong faith that he was powerful, that he could do whatever he wanted to, and that he could cure my dad. And I also believed that prayer worked. So I remember specifically praying very fervently that my dad be healed. In fact, I was there on his last day in the hospital, and I still was convinced that God was going to throw a miracle out and my father was going to be healed. And he died. And I remember I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't make any sense. I know you're powerful. I know you can. I know you're loving. I know that you want to, yet you didn't. And so now I'm confused. And remember after the funeral, I went for a walk in the woods, and I was really struggling with this. So I got into this, I'll say, one-sided discussion with God. And I said, look, you can take away everything from me. And you will not get me to stop believing in you. You won't get me to stop believing that you are powerful and loving. And it was almost a tuggle or a struggle there. And I know a lot of people talk about this peace that occurs. I got it at that moment. I can't describe it except to use words that people can relate to. I had no more fear. I had no more frustrations. I had no more concerns about the next day. It was a feeling that it's incredible. And I remember going back to the kitchen, coming back from the woods, and my mom and my brother in the kitchen. I asked them a question when I got back. I said, if you guys died tonight, would you go to heaven? And I didn't even know the answer to that question. And both of them said, I think so. And I said, well, that's not good enough for me. And my mother said, I think I've been pretty good. And I said, if that's the answer to the question, then I am clearly going to hell. And that was probably the lowest I ever got. But what it did is it forced me to start exploring, start looking. That's where these disciples that people that came into my life started discipling me, they took advantage of that curiosity and they fostered it through scripture, and that's kind of how it all came to life for me. So it was a
Mm,
great, but
awesome.
it was a journey went over time.
How has this study of John helped you on your journey this year?
I mean, it's such a great book. The Bible's a great book, obviously, but I mean, here's what gets me is God, before I was created, but even before Adam and Eve were created, already had the redemption plan in place.
Yeah.
Christ already volunteered to come die for man that had not been created. I mean, wouldn't you just think, oh, I just won't create him, I don't have to go through all this? But that is the definition of true love right there. Of that I know everything that's going to happen. I'm still going to go forward, and I'm still going to create a plan. That's been a great a thing that just comes to life in John. But I'm really fascinated by the two groups of people. The groups of people that immediately believe in Jesus and follow immediately, and those who resist. And what I find fascinating is a lot of the ones that resist have the most head knowledge, and the ones who don't have the least. But the difference between the two groups is who's looking. When Andrew ran to Peter and said, we found the Messiah. You can't say you found the Messiah if you weren't looking.
Yeah.
Yet the Pharisees were looking for something different. And when he was there, filling all the prophecies flawlessly, it wasn't clear. And so we looked, and we still do this today. We look for miracles to prove his existence. We just have to be looking for him, and he'll appear. And that's what really has struck me so far this year in the study.
Mm. Tim, thanks. I think I had a surprise question for you, but you already answered it. So well done.
Oh, good.
Well done. Well, congratulations, Grandpa. It was fun to see your new granddaughter on the at the service team meeting last night. And so you're batching it with Kathleen off helping out. So anyway,
Great.
thanks for your time tonight. And we'll look forward to seeing you on Monday.